Today, I'm going to be making some Pignoli cookies. I have never in my life had Pignoli cookies or heard of them. This recipe is from Food Network magazine from Giada De Laurentiis, and you don't need that many ingredients. This is all your ingredients right here. So you need 1 7-ounce tube of almond paste. You need half a cup of confectioner sugar. You need half a teaspoon of vanilla, a 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt, 1 egg white, and 2/3 cup pine nuts. And so this jar was not, this is a little more than 2/3 cup, but there would have only been like this much left in the bottom. So I just went ahead and put the rest of them in this bowl of the pine nuts. And I think that's probably the most expensive part of this recipe is the pine nuts. So you want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. And you want to line a rimmed baking sheet with parchment paper and set aside. So the directions say break apart the almond paste in the bowl of a food processor. So let me see what it looks like here. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna cut the ends of this off. I'm going to pulse, it says break apart the almond paste in the bowl of a food processor. So I broke it apart, but I'm assuming you pulse it now. It did not say to pulse it now, but I'm going to. Yeah, that really broke that apart. You see that's in chunks. Okay, now, so it doesn't say how much to do that, but it is broken apart. Okay, now the directions say to add the confectioner sugar, vanilla, salt, and egg white. It says pulse until smooth. Now the directions, I just literally moved this over and I took my blade out. It says scoop 1 tablespoon balls of dough directly into the pine nuts and gently roll them in the pine nuts, pressing them gently to adhere. The dough is soft, but the pine nuts will make it easier to handle. Okay, so I have a cookie scoop. So I'm gonna, yeah, the dough is very soft. So I'm gonna put it in here. Okay. And I'm gonna scoop it on top just so they don't stick to my fingers. Okay. And now you want to add this to your baking sheet that you've set aside with parchment paper. So it looks like that. Oh, she said press down gently, so I'm assuming it's supposed to be a little flat. So I'm gonna keep doing this. This recipe is actually supposed to make 12, and I think I could have, well, I made mine too big, number one. Mine, the cookie scoop, just, it's too big, but I also did not have enough pine nuts, so I completely ran out of pine nuts. So, like I said, I've never had these cookies before. I'm wondering if I coated the first ones like too well in the pine nuts, because I was really worried about getting it all over, and maybe they're not supposed to be that well coated. So if you make this recipe, I think you'll probably be able to get 12. Just don't coat them as well as I did. But now you want to bake them at 350 for 16 to 18 minutes. I'm going to put them in for 16 minutes, but then when they come out, I'll let you know how long they actually stayed. These are the cookies straight out of the oven. I did not leave them for the total. It said 16 to 18 minutes. I did not leave them for the total 16 minutes. It was more like 15 minutes and it was more right around 15 minutes. So because I started smelling them and then I noticed some of the edges are getting really brown. I don't know how crisp they're supposed to be or anything, but they look good to me. So 15 minutes for me. I'm gonna let them cool off and then we'll give them a try. Okay. She says there are 2 kinds of Pignoli cookies I grew up eating. While the crunchy version is also delicious, I am a sucker for the sweet chewiness of the soft meringue version. They are also gluten-free, so I like to include them on holiday plates so everyone has something to enjoy. So these were so easy to make. I mean, really, really easy to make. I'm wondering what she does different to make them crunchy. You know?
Probably different.
I don't know. So
these are definitely a chewier.
Yeah. Oh wow. Look at that. That's so nice. Get the almond. You don't like it?
I don't like the nuts.
I knew Kevin didn't like it.
The inside part is good because I got a bite of just the gooey part.
The almond.
And it's really good. But then you add the pine nuts and it's very earthy. I don't know, just don't like it.
Okay. I think you could do the same thing with crushed peanuts or crushed pecans.
It might change it. Yeah, it might be okay. Yeah. For me, it's all about that pine nut. I just don't like the flavor of it.
And honestly, I had a little bit of, you weren't here, but I said as I was making them that I used all my pine nuts and I probably had enough of the goo, the paste, to make one more cookie. And I thought about getting some crushed pecans out of the cabinet and trying it with pecans. It probably would have been really good, but that wouldn't have been the recipe, and that's why I did not try it. I think this same recipe would work great. I think peanuts would be great too.
Yeah. There are just so many other cookies that I prefer like 1,000 times more than this. Even just if you took the pine nuts off and just the gooey part, there's still other cookies I'd rather make.
Right.
This is not, I mean, this is probably a traditional recipe that if you were raised with them, you would eat these all the time.
You don't have to keep all that. I know you don't even want it.
Well, I don't want to put them on with the other one. It's not something I would ever eat, but I'm sure this is a good recipe for the people that have grown up eating these, that are used to eating these.
Right. This is, like I said at the beginning, this is something I've never heard of Pignoli, never seen one, never bought one, anything. So this is a completely new experience for us. What the deal is with the pine nuts is it's a strong earthy nut. So Kevin doesn't like pistachios either because they are strong and earthy. So the pine nuts, usually I use them in a recipe and they're very well hidden and you don't use a lot of them. And so he doesn't notice them in that recipe really. But that and the almond are the main flavors, and you better like almond a lot.
Yeah, I don't, and like I said, I don't mind the almond part, but I'd rather have just regular chocolate chip cookie.
I understand. No, I understand because if you really need to like that earthiness of those pine nuts. I do think you could do the same things with different nuts if you wanted to. But I think they came out perfect.
Yeah, it's a good recipe.
It's a good recipe. I think it works. And I think if you've never had these, I would give them a try as long as you're willing to spend the money on the pine nuts. Because the pine nuts are more expensive than other nuts. That's the thing is buying those pine nuts. I already had them, so I didn't have to worry about it. But I hope you enjoyed the recipe. If you've ever made these or had these, let us know what you think of them, and they might be your favorite cookie. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.